What's the deal, y'all, man? Rich Trapper tapping in, TNN Trap News Network, back in this thing, like thing, man. I've been keeping y'all updated all day on this big U loose cannon brick baby situation as they've been picked up by the feds. The last thing y'all heard from Big U was he was on his way to turn himself in. He has since turned himself in to the feds. He was not captured. He has turned himself in. That's a good point that they're going to want to bring up in court, man. You know, he has a sense of innocence. He turned himself in. He has trust in the judicial system. He should get a bail, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. We finna slide right into this content, man. The arrest of gang leader Big U and its ripple effects. Let's get into this. Let's go.
Several breaking news stories at this hour. We begin with that South LA man who the feds say used taxpayer money and donations to fund gang activities. In the past hour, we've learned that Eugene Henley Jr. and Brian Mejia were taken into custody. Henley Jr. is a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips, according to the
Did she just diss? She definitely kind of just dissed a little bit.
FBI, but in recent years he worked in.
Don't get packed out, news lady. Get to the back. Don't get packed out.
Entertainment and ran a youth charity that the acting U.S. attorney now says was a front for his criminal enterprise. NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi live in downtown L.A. with the very latest developments.
Camilla kind of bad. She kind of fine. I ain't gonna lie.
Developments on this, Camilla.
Hi, Colleen.
Hey, Camilla.
19 defendants in total in connection.
Let me know what y'all think about Camilla.
To this
in downtown LA with the very latest developments on this, Camilla.
Hi, Colleen. 19 defendants in total in connection to this criminal enterprise. At least two of them appeared in federal court earlier today. And now, as you mentioned, Eugene Henley and another fugitive are now in custody tonight in connection to this case. A known community activist and founder of a youth nonprofit in South LA, now facing federal charges.
A career criminal known as Big U.
Eugene Henley is accused of being a longtime leader of the Rolling 60s Crips street gang. Federal prosecutors say Henley ran a criminal enterprise and is accused of a number of crimes, including racketeering, human trafficking, fraud, and the 2021 murder of a musician.
He has maintained the image of an entertainment industry entrepreneur running a music label, and of somebody who gives back to the community here in Los Angeles. The facts alleged in the complaint.
Hey, that fat, bad beard having body boy want blood. He ain't tripping. He coming for the kill.
Paint a very different picture. It is one of a murderer, a thief, a liar.
Federal authorities say there are other alleged gang members facing charges they say are connected.
Turtle. Break. Free Monty Blanco. Free Bear Claw, man. This is heartbreaking.
Connected to the criminal enterprise. A number of arrests were made this week. These sketches show two defendants, Sylvester Robinson and Mark Martin, in federal court Wednesday afternoon.
4 of the 19 defendants were already in custody, and 10 defendants were taken into custody in the last 24 hours.
Court documents also state Henley fraudulently obtained funding from the city of Los Angeles through the Gang Reduction Youth Development Foundation. Henley was the founder behind the nonprofit Developing Options that helps support at-risk youth.
Mr. Henley duped the county of Los Angeles by running a nonprofit named Developing Options, which was set up to pull youth out of the gang life and promote anti-gang solutions. Yet Mr. Henley continued to personally orchestrate violent gang activity that impact our communities.
Court documents state Henley had drawn hundreds of thousands of dollars for his own use.
Mr. Henley is accused of embezzling donations made by celebrities, professional athletes, and businesses to his charity.
Federal prosecutors say Henley could face a 20-year prison sentence if convicted on the racketeering charge.
And at his age, a 20-year sentence is a life sentence. He's like 65. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. How old is Eugene Henley, a.k.a. Big U?
Got it. Here's an Instagram caption based on your request. Breaking news, Henley,
No,
aka Big U.
that's not it. I'm trying to see how old he is. I don't want an Instagram caption. Come on, ChatGPT. How old is Big U, aka Eugene Henley?
Big U, A. Eugene Henley, was born on November 21st, 1968, which makes him 56 years old as of March 2025.
56 years old.
Charges. And we have learned this evening Eugene Henley and Brian Mejia are expected to be in court tomorrow. In downtown LA, Camila Rambaldi, NBC4 News.
Government and tax records show millions of dollars poured in.
This is what they mad at, that money. I notice they don't really mention too much or anything else in detail, but that money they hot about.
To the nonprofit the feds say was at the center of this criminal enterprise. Our investigative reporter Eric Leonard joins us now with more on how this organization was being funded and where all this money was going. Eric.
Oh, hi, Michael. Well, the most surprising discovery here is that the nonprofit called the Ex-Offender Fellowship Network, which was also known as Developing Options, a pair of nonprofits that the city says were essentially one entity, were facing suspensions from state tax authorities. The city of LA has been paying these nonprofits millions of dollars in recent years, and the amounts have only gone up. The California Franchise Tax Board issued a suspension notice in April 2024 for one of the nonprofits operated by Eugene Henley Jr., who federal prosecutors in LA announced Wednesday faces racketeering and corruption charges for allegedly misusing money meant for the city's gang intervention efforts. Henley's most recent contract with the city.
So they don't have him down for the 187 of that kid. They have him down for playing with the government's money.
Shows a payment of nearly $800,000 due in July 2024, the final installment of a 4-year agreement that paid his groups more than $2.2 million for intervention. Henley, seen here in a red carpet photo, began forming the nonprofits in 2009, according to state records. They began receiving city gang intervention funding as far back as 2011. Between 2018 and 2023, LA Controller payment records show Henley's groups received around $500,000 a year. Then, in 2023, a significant increase that followed then-Mayor Eric Garcetti's efforts to increase funding for intervention work after the rise in violent street crime that followed the COVID-19 pandemic. Looking at the tax records for the Ex-Offender Fellowship, which includes the city money and private donations, you can see its revenue went from around $500,000 a year to nearly $800,000, then to nearly $2 million for 2023. The last.
It's a lot of missing cash. And like I said, this is what they mad about. This is what they talking the most about, is that missing money. Can't play with Uncle Sam's chili, big dog. America's a business. They not gonna play about that cash.
Tax return.
I wonder if they're going to mention that unalive child. God bless his soul.
Available. Where was the money going? The tax returns show while Eugene Henley Jr. was paid $95,000 as president and director, nearly all the money collected went to compensate unnamed top staff members, including corporate officers, directors, and trustees. According to the criminal complaint, Henley diverted much of that money to his personal bank accounts, and the feds say he allegedly pocketed tens of thousands of dollars in donations intended for the groups, including a $20,000 contribution from an NBA All-Star. Federal authorities say, in addition to all of that, they believe that Henley evaded taxes by not reporting all of this income, was also allegedly involved in a scheme to get a home loan that he wouldn't have qualified for otherwise. We asked the city of LA for its response about its oversight of these gang intervention programs. The mayor's office sent us some remarks a few minutes ago. It said the city has strict oversight in place, but they say the allegations made public today show that there was a sophisticated scheme to thwart that kind of oversight. Live in the News Operations Center, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
And with Henley Jr.'s influence reaching across the community and entertainment industry, there are questions tonight about where else his network might spread. NBC4's Conan Nolan joins us live from the News Operations Center to continue that part of our coverage tonight. Conan?
That's right, Colleen. When it comes to public money, this could not come at a worse time. Remember, state and local governments, including the city
This couldn't have come at a worse time because they cracking down on what y'all doing with this chili.
of LA, are looking at a major budget shortfall. They normally ask Washington for help. This news is not going to aid that effort.
That's where this issue is coming in at. It's going up the chain. You're going to have to account for this chili, and you have to ask Washington for some more money. And they're like, well, what about this $2.2 million that's missing? Y'all gave to this game member, this kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. The money trail is always crazy. And then you got this bald-headed Beezy. She's a terrible mayor.
It was just yesterday on the south steps of City Hall when Mayor Karen Bass touted the success of publicly
She's like a stupid little leprechaun.
funded anti-crime community groups. A message to Washington not to cut out federal grant money for the mayor's signature effort at fighting gang violence.
Through our gang reduction and youth development program,
A trash lineup. Look at her lineup. Her lineup is terrible.
also known as GRID, we are directly addressing gang violence through intervention, prevention, and community engagement services.
But according to the U.S. Department of Justice today, not all of that money was going to reduce gang violence. Federal authorities say self-described community activist Eugene Hanley, also known as Big U, received $2.3 million from the city over 5 years for gang intervention efforts. Money prosecutors say instead went into drug trafficking, fraud, even murder, and Henley's own bank account.
A criminal enterprise where hundreds of thousands of dollars were siphoned off that should have gone to charitable purposes, gang reduction, gang intervention.
The news comes exactly at the wrong time for those trying to halt the evisceration of federal spending by the Trump administration, and most specifically, billionaire Elon Musk. While crime prevention grant money is a tiny fraction.
Hey, look at the example that they set in, bro, and how far up the food chain this goes. Crazy.
Of the overall federal budget, it helps with the messaging from the White House, says Jessica Levinson, former chair of the Los Angeles Ethics Commission. She teaches election law at Loyola Law School.
Is it possible that this becomes an example for Elon Musk to point to? I think at this point, everything is possible. Everything is on the table, saying, look at this terrible use of your taxpayer money. That's generally a winner for people who want to reduce federal funding and federal spending.
And it's not just the issue of gangs, but also of homelessness. Today, the Los Angeles City Council voted 13-0 to try to track the money they get from the city and over to nonprofit groups. One member of the council saying that nobody
They the church money all the way up.
at City Hall actually knows how many of those community groups go into homeless encampment areas to help, or how many beds are filled every night. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
Get out of here, man. Y'all know the deal. Red dots to the left. Y'all know the rest. And it's free Avenue Angel, so he's free. We gone.